Hello traders, I welcome you all to this week market analysis session. I would be sharing with you my expectations on the 7 major currency pairs. 7 major currency pairs. So we'll be starting with the Great Britain USD. And as you know, I would always start analyzing the markets using the weekly time frame just to know the trend for the week. The execution is done on lower time frame and ensure that whatever trade I'm executing on the lower time frame aligns with the weekly trend. Okay, so what do we have on the weekly time frame? You would see that last week candle closed bearish, which indicates that we have more sellers than buyers. So if we go by the weekly candle formation, we should expect more bearish move on GBPUSD this week. Also, there is a possibility for price to pull back from the current market price. It is very possible, but just by looking at the weekly time frame, we could tell that we have more sellers in the market. And besides looking at the considering the weekly candle, which is strongly bearish, you would also see that the market broke out from a strong support level. We had a support level here, we had a support level here, and we had previous support levels at this level and at this level. Can you see that? And last week, candle closed below the support level. It indicates that supply has exceeded demand. So we should expect more bearish move on GBPUSD. Now, if you're considering buying, like I said, it is possible for price to pull back from the current market price. The trend could change from bearish to bullish. Okay, now before we jump into buy, we want to see bullish reversal candlestick formations on lower time frame, like the 4-hour time frame or 1-hour time frame. That is when we would consider buying. We should see bullish reversal candlestick on lower time frame, or a candle on lower time frame, say 4-hour, should close above this resistance level or supply level. That is when we would consider buying GBPUSD. But if we go by the formation we have on the weekly time frame, it is a sell formation. It is a sell formation. Okay, so at what price should we consider buying GBPUSD, and also at what price should we consider selling GBPUSD? Okay, because it could be that this push down that we saw last week could be to hunt for the stop losses at this level. It could be that it just swept liquidity at this low and this low and also this low. That could be the purpose for the bearish move we saw last week. So it's possible for price to start pulling back because they've already achieved their goal. Okay, so it's possible for price to start going up from the current market price. So what should we look out for? We should look out for a break from resistance. If we want to buy, we should wait for price to break resistance level on lower time frame. Okay, so let's see what we have on daily. So you could see on daily, we have a candlestick formation that looks like a spinning bottom. And the spinning bottom indicates change in trend, right? From bearish to bullish. Now, because the body of this candle is bearish, we can't just jump in and start buying. We can't just jump in and start buying. Before we buy, after a bullish reversal candlestick formation, we are expected to wait for the next candle to close bullish before we buy. So for us to buy GBPUSD, we are supposed to wait for the Monday candle to close bullish. That is when we would consider buying GBPUSD. We can't buy at the moment. If you look at this spinning bottom, if you go back here, you would see that we had that candle is sitting on a previous resistance and support. Can you see it? If you go back here also, we had supports, resistance, supports. So that could be the reason for this rejection. So if a 4-hour candle or the daily candle closes bullish, that's Monday candle, we can consider buying. Okay. And if this support zone is broken, if a 4-hour candle closes below this zone, we could see GBPUSD sell to the next support. You can see on the weekly. So it's possible for GBPUSD to sell to this next support if a 4-hour candle closes below this zone. And if a 4-hour candle closes above this resistance zone, or you could call it your supply zone, you want to consider buying GBPUSD. So that's my take on GBPUSD. Sell below this demand zone or support zone and buy above this resistance zone or supply zone. That is my take on GBPUSD. And as you know, GBPUSD, Australian dollar USD, Euro USD, New Zealand USD are positively correlated. By that, I mean 80 to 90% of the time, these pairs move in the same direction. So if you're looking for opportunities to buy GBPUSD, we should also consider buying those pairs I just mentioned. And if you are considering selling GBPUSD, we should consider selling those pairs too. Okay, so that is it for GBPUSD. Let's look at Australian dollar USD. What do we have here? So on the weekly, okay, this is the weekly time frame. You would see last week candle closed as a doji, which indicates weakness. It indicates that the sellers are becoming weaker. They are becoming exhausted, and there's a high probability for price to start pushing up from the current market price. But as you know, we can't just jump in because we have a doji candlestick formation. This just indicates that the sellers are becoming weaker. So we can't just jump in and start buying. Before we buy, a candle should close bullish after the close of this doji. So we should expect the weekly candle to close bullish. If this coming week candle closes bullish, then we should expect more bullish move on Australian dollar USD next month. So there's a problem that next month Australian dollar USD will be bullish if this week candle closes bullish. But at the moment, the bears are still in control. Their next target could be this next support. Okay, so price moved up to this level and there was a strong rejection from that level. And the reason for that could be this resistance. This was where they aimed for. This was their target. Okay, but they could not hit that level. So this support, if you go down to, let's see, daily. So on daily, you'll see we had a support here. Let's go down to 4-hour. So on 4-hour, you would see we had supports at this level. So I believe these different support levels are the reasons for the rejection we saw last week. These levels are the reason for this rejection. You can see that. So The bears are still in control, but like I said, we could see price continue, it's bullish or continue going up from the current market price. But like I said, we have to wait for the weekly or the daily candle to close bullish before we consider buying. We can't jump in and start buying. If you look at the daily, we had what looks like a spinning bottom, which tested a previous support level. So price tested this support level and there was a rejection from that level. If you go to 4 hour, you would see on 4 hour, you would see we had a support here. Can you see this? So I think that is the reason for this rejection. Okay, that's the reason for this rejection. Okay, so if you are considering selling, you should wait for a candle to break out from this support zone. You should wait for a candle to close above the support zone before you consider selling. And if you are considering buying, I would suggest you wait for a candle to close above this resistance, 4 hour candle to close above this resistance before you buy. And if you are buying above this level, your stop loss should be at this level. And if you are selling below this level, your stop loss should be few pips above the high of this candle. And if you are selling, if you are buying above this level, your stop loss should be few pips below this level, because it is possible for them to hunt for the stop losses at this level. Okay, we have stop losses at this level, we have stop losses at this level, we have stop losses at this level. So it is likely they will push price down just to hunt for the stop losses at this level before pushing price up. So you don't want to set your stop loss at this level or at this level or at this level. So you should set it few pips below this low. I hope that is clear. Okay, so that is my take on Australian dollar USD. I would be considering buying above this resistance zone and sell below this support zone. If a 4 hour candle closes below this zone, it's a sell for me. And if a 4 hour candle closes above this zone, that will be a buy opportunity for me. Let's move to the next pair. Now, the setup we have on New Zealand is similar to what we have on Australian dollar USD. So we might not have to spend much time on Australian dollar on New Zealand USD. Let's start with the weekly. Okay, so what we have on the weekly on New Zealand USD looks like an inverted hammer. Inverted hammer, which indicates change in trend from bearish to bullish. But we cannot just jump in and start buying New Zealand USD because the inverted hammer is a bearish inverted hammer, which still indicates that we have few sellers in the market. So it will not be wise for us to jump in and start buying. Before we buy, we want to be sure that we have buyers in the market, right? We have enough buyers in the market before we consider buying. So we are to wait for the daily candle to close bullish. The next daily candle should close bullish before we consider buying New Zealand USD. Okay, so we should expect, if you're considering buying, we should expect a candle, the daily or 4 hour candle, to close above this resistance level. That is when I would consider buying New Zealand USD. If a 4 hour candle closes above this resistance, I would be buying New Zealand USD. But at the moment, the bears are still in control. The bears are still in control. Let's see what we have at 4 hour. Okay, so the market just opened, as you can see, and it's opened below this support. It opened below this support. So if a 4-hour candle closes below this support, you might want to consider selling. If a 4-hour candle closes below this zone, you might want to consider selling. But if a 4-hour candle closes above this resistance level, you might want to consider buying New Zealand USD. Okay, so that's my take on New Zealand USD. 4-hour candle closes below this support, we might look for opportunity to sell. And if a 4-hour candle closes above this resistance, we might consider buying New Zealand USD. Okay, so the next pair is USDCAD, which is negatively correlated with GBPUSD. So if we're looking at the weekly price action, it's obvious that the buyers, the bulls are still in control. Okay, it's obvious that the bulls are still in control. So we can just jump in and start selling. Okay, we can just jump in and start selling. Another thing we want to consider here is this previous resistance. It could be the reason for the rejection we saw last week, I think last Friday. That could be the reason. This previous resistance could be the reason. Okay, so if this resistance is broken, USD is likely going to continue with its bullish trend. If a 4-hour candle closes above this resistance level, USD CAD is likely going to continue with its bullish trend. But let's see what we have on daily and 4-hour. So you could see on daily, we had this resistance zone on daily. Okay, and you could see that was the reason for this rejection. So if a 4-hour candle closes above this zone, you might want to consider buying USD CAD. You might want to consider buying USD CAD. And we had a support, a resistance here, some support. Okay, so if you are considering selling, you should consider selling below this zone, this support zone. That will be my take on USD CAD. 4-hour candle closes above this level, you might want to consider buying. 4-hour candle closes below this level, you might want to consider selling USD CAD. Okay. The next pair we'll be looking at is USDCHF. So what do we have on the weekly time frame? Okay, so last week candle was bullish. Okay, so that tells us that the buyers are still in control. Okay, but there's nothing I want us to consider here. You would notice that we had a resistance at this level, and we also had a support at this level. So the rejection we saw on USDCHF on Friday could be as a result of this resistance. It could be as a result of this resistance. So there's a possibility for price to start dropping from the current market price. It is very possible because the market tested a resistance level and there was a rejection from that level. So if buyers are able to push price up and close it above this level, we could see USDCHF push up to this resistance level for the week. If this level is broken, USDCHF could go up for this resistance level. Okay, but let's see what we have on daily and 4-hour. So you can see on daily, we have a bearish reversal candlestick formation. This is a doji indicating change in trend from bullish to bearish. Now, this didn't just form anywhere. It formed as a previous resistance level. Can you see that? It formed at a resistance level. Okay, so we won't just jump in and start selling. We should wait for Monday candle to close bearish. That will be the best time to consider selling. If the Monday candle closes bearish, we can consider selling USDCHF, and this support should be our next target. We are buying above this level, so we have a resistance on 4 hour, so this becomes our resistance zone or supply zone. So if a 4 hour candle closes above this zone, we want to consider buying, and if a 4 hour candle closes below this zone, support zone, we want to consider selling USDCHF. Okay, so the next pair is EURUSD, and that will be the last pair for this week market analysis session. So what do we have on the weekly? Last week candle closed bearish, strongly bearish. That tells us that we have more buyer sellers. The bears are still in control, so we can't buy EURUSD. But as you know, it's possible for price to start going up from the current market price. The trend can change from bearish to bullish. Okay, it's very possible. It could be that the bearish move we experienced 2 weeks ago could be as a result of this previous lows. Could be that it just hunted for the stop losses at this level. We also have previous low here, which could be their next target. Okay, we have several stop losses and self-stop orders at this level, so they might want to sweep the stop losses or liquidity at these levels before pushing price up. So this is likely going to be their next target. Okay, so the bears are still in control. So if we are considering buying, at what price should we buy EURUSD? At what price should we buy EURUSD? So we have to identify resistance levels on lower time frame, daily and 4 hour. So on daily, we had this was a previous support zone resistance. Okay, the previous support zone resistance. Let's go down to 4 hour. So on 4 hour, we had a resistance at this level. So if a 4 hour candle closes above this zone, you want to consider buying EURUSD. Okay, if a 4 hour candle closes above this zone, you want to consider buying EURUSD. And if a 4 hour candle closes below this zone, you want to consider selling EURUSD. So that is it for the week. Okay, so like I've always advised, ensure you apply proper risk and money management on every trade you execute. Trading is a game of probability. That a trade will go in your direction is 50%. It has 50% probability, and that a trade will go against your prediction has a 50% probability. Okay, so ensure you apply stops on every trade. I've always advised, before you execute a trade, define your risk. Define your risk before you execute the trade. Define your risk and also define your reward. If you trade with this mindset, you would be a profitable trader. The secret to successful trading is proper risk and money management. That is the secret. Okay, that is the secret. If you want to be in this game 5-10 years from now, you should learn how to manage risk. Okay, I appreciate you all for showing up for tonight's session, and I wish you all profitable trading week.